So the Department of Homeland Security announcing the next Alligator Alcatraz, but this one will be located in Indiana, and they're calling it the Speedway Slammer. Set to house the worst of the worst criminals. Here to discuss is DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. Madam Secretary, thanks so much for joining Fox and Friends this morning.
Good morning, Lawrence.
So, Madam Secretary, this is the next phase of this. You guys need more beds, and it looks like Indiana has agreed to do this. How long would people be housed here, and how quickly will they be deported after that?
Well, it'll be exactly the same type of facility and how it's utilized as our other detention centers. When individuals, these criminal illegal aliens, the worst of the worst, are detained by ICE, they will be processed and go through due process and paperwork and then return to their countries. Obviously, we want them, if they've committed criminal acts or been convicted of them, we want them to pay the consequences of that, but then we will send them home. They don't belong in this country. They never should have been allowed in under the Biden administration, and so that's what this facility is in Indiana, and we're so grateful for the partnership that we're building with governors. We've got several of these facilities that'll come online soon, and it really is meeting a need that our country has to clean up our streets.
Madam Secretary, is it fair to say, and I know you guys are anticipating more funding with the big, beautiful bill, but when I talk to my sources, my ICE friends, they say we don't even have enough beds right now. Is that going to turn around with states' cooperation?
Absolutely. These states are really stepping up, and they're helping us do it in an extremely efficient manner for the taxpayers as well. So these partnerships are under a 287G program, which is something that helps our federal law enforcement officers partner with these state and local law enforcement officials that want to clean up their streets too, and do unique partnerships like this. So that's why Indiana has come online with the Speedway Slammer. We also have others we'll announce in the future. Alligator Alcatraz was the first model, and the big, beautiful bill provided us the resources that we need to get these beds online so we can continue to do our work.
Meanwhile, you got these states, Florida, Indiana, my home state of Texas, that are working with ICE, working with the department. But the Justice Department just released a list of sanctuary jurisdictions, got about 12 states, and then you got Washington, D.C. as well, that they're going to pull up for prosecution. Are you guys helping the Department of Justice build these cases against these sanctuary cities? Because this is clear law. Federal Supremacy Clause says that you guys have supremacy when it comes to immigration laws.
Well, clearly the Department of Justice does the prosecutions, but yes, we have extensive experience in these cities and these states and how difficult it is for our officers to operate and to do their work every day when they don't have the backup of local law enforcement, when judges don't honor our detainers in these areas, when you have dangerous criminals that are out there victimizing families every single day. Murderers, rapists, drug traffickers, human traffickers, and then they're just released back out onto the streets. We have several stories just from this week, Lawrence, of individuals who died, that were killed because of criminals that were released over and over again by these sanctuary cities and leaders in these areas. So we're going to continue to help tell those stories of those victims and how it shouldn't and never happen again in this country, and hope that the Department of Justice can prosecute them as soon as possible so that we have some accountability out of these leaders.
Madam Secretary, the next mayor of New York, Zohran Mamdani, doesn't see it that way, though. This is what he had to say. Let's watch it.
This is a dark moment to be a stranger in our city, to be a stranger in our country. An authoritarian government in Washington, D.C. is dispatching masked agents to abduct immigrants from our streets. That is not justice. It is cruelty, and it is criminal.
What's your response to him?
I can't even imagine how the people of New York City feel listening to that, knowing that if he were elected as mayor of New York, that they would have to continue to live with the dangerous criminals that are on their streets terrorizing that city right now. We've done so much work there as ICE officers and federal law enforcement officers getting dangerous criminals off the streets of New York. Literally hundreds and hundreds of them have been removed already in New York City because of President Trump's leadership. We need to continue to do that work, and we need a mayor that will work with us and have our backs when we're out there making sure we're going after those individuals. So if he were elected, New York City would be a train wreck, and those poor families would have nowhere to go for help.
It's unbelievable. Madam Secretary, I want to talk about your push to get more ICE agents. We know that the number of assaults against these agents has increased by more than 800%. Some of my agents that I know tell me that the number could be higher than that, just based on some of the data that they're looking at. But you want them to join. You want more enforcement. You're going to give them a $50,000 signing bonus. There's an opportunity to get up to $60,000 in student loan payment. This is not the government giving money away. This is a service to the country, and then up to a 25% premium pay. Is it working?
Absolutely, Lawrence. This is one of the things that I'm so excited about because we've seen our ICE officers be terrorized by activists, by violent people who want to do them harm, and they have continued to go out bravely and do their jobs and make sure that they're upholding the rule of law. And so our recruitment efforts to hire 10,000 new ICE officers has been extremely successful. Lawrence, as of today, we have over 80,000 applicants for those 10,000 positions already. People and patriots across this country that say, we want to join, we want to help and be a part of this effort. It's overwhelming to see the amount of response and support that our ICE officers have gotten and people who want to join their ranks. So I would tell everybody, go to join.ice.gov and go there and sign up, be a part of this team that is helping make America safe again with President Trump. And the other thing, Lawrence, I would say is we've removed any of the age barriers. We no longer have a cap on how old you can be, or you can continue at age 18, sign up for ICE and join us and be a part of it. We'll get you trained and ready to be equipped to go out on the streets and help protect families.
You know, Madam Secretary, I find it hard every time I see a tragic story against one of our officers, not signing up myself, getting NALA and going out there and trying to go after some of these bad guys. Meanwhile, you've been named as part of President Trump's task force to oversee the Summer Olympics. What can you tell us about the security measures, what you guys are going to be planning? Because the threat level is high, but we have a commander-in-chief that's ready to respond to it now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so grateful that President Trump recognizes the importance of making sure that our country is safe, but also still hosting people from around the world and telling our story of freedom. So the Department of Homeland Security has been given the responsibility to run these games for security measures and to make sure they're facilitated and work with this task force in order to make sure that people can come and compete and do it safely and bring their families as well. So we're excited about this and the team that he's put together with his leadership and Vice President Vance as the vice chair. We're going to host these games just like we do everything in America. We'll do the best job that anyone ever has, and people will come and be entertained, but also the competition builds friendlier relationships around the world. When people come and they spend time together and appreciate each other's cultures, we become more educated about each other, and it helps us build relationships as well that benefit us in other areas.
Roger that, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Secretary. We appreciate you joining us this morning.
Thank you, Lawrence. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
And you know, there's another battle going on in Washington, and that is the administration making consequences for illegal criminal aliens, particularly in sanctuary cities. We've seen lawsuit after lawsuit, and now DHS posting a list of 12 states, 35 cities, from L.A. to Boston to Philly. You can see a map here of all of them, saying that these are the sanctuary jurisdictions which time and time again have released criminal illegal aliens back onto the streets who do what? Commit more crimes. And this administration, first they shut down the border, record low numbers. Now they're going after the interior, and they are making these sanctuary jurisdictions all across the country, from sea to sea, you see there, from coast to coast, saying federal immigration law is supreme, and we're not going to stand for it.
Yeah, there are 13 states on his list. There are other cities. There are 4 counties on the list. Now, certain states are handling it differently. Like in Illinois, there was a federal judge who tossed out the DOJ's claims, saying that the state and local policies were protected by the Constitution. No word yet on if the DOJ will respond to that with an appeal. And then in Louisville, Kentucky, a few weeks ago, we talked about this. The DOJ threatened results in the mayor modifying the city's policies. And the mayor decided to cooperate with the federal government and said, you can lock up criminals, we'll lock them up for 48 hours, enough time for ICE to come and arrest them.
I'm so glad the DOJ is getting involved with this. This is lawless behavior. The federal Constitution has supremacy when it comes to immigration law. You just can't decide that you're not going to abide by a court order that says people have to be deported. You can't have judges that are letting inmates and people that have warrants out for their arrest out the back door of the courtroom. That's not how our court system works. But I'm so glad that Indiana is teaming up with the Trump administration. They're going to be providing beds for the worst of the worst, and it's going to be called the Speedway Slammer. We had the DHS Secretary Kristi Noem on earlier. This is what she had to say about it.
They never should have been allowed in under the Biden administration. And so that's what this facility is in Indiana. And we're so grateful for the partnership that we're building with governors. We've got several of these facilities that'll come online soon. And it really is meeting a need that our country has to clean up our streets. We have extensive experience in these cities and these states and how difficult it is for our officers to operate and to do their work every day when they don't have the backup of local law enforcement, when judges don't honor our detainers in these areas, when you have dangerous criminals that are out there victimizing families every single day. We're going to continue to help tell those stories of those victims and how it shouldn't and never happen again in this country, and hope that the Department of Justice can prosecute them as soon as possible so that we have some accountability out of these leaders.
All right, so that's 1,000 beds at the Miami Correctional Facility, which is in Indiana, and the governor's working with ICE and with Kristi Noem to work on that. Tom Homan said there are 60,000 beds in the United States for detained immigrants, for the criminals, the worst of the worst. And the goal is to expand that to 100,000. The one down in Florida, Alligator Alcatraz, that will sleep 5,000. There are 5,000 beds there. But how many did you say in the first hour illegal immigrants are there that are criminals?
There are some 500 to 600,000 criminal illegal aliens, Ainsley, that they know who they are. A majority of them have final deportation orders, but have been released in places like those sanctuary cities in states we just showed. But one of the things that frustrates the ICE agents and officers I talk to more than anything is that this should be, Ainsley, a bipartisan issue. We should want to get the worst of the worst, murderers, child rapists, off the streets and out of the country, but yet Democrats just aren't going to stop doubling down. And there's no better case than Zohran Mamdani, who's likely going to be New York's next mayor, that is going with this narrative that ICE is simply kidnapping people. Watch this.
This is a dark moment to be a stranger in our city, to be a stranger in our country. An authoritarian government in Washington, D.C., is dispatching masked agents to abduct immigrants from our streets. That is not justice. It is cruelty, and it is criminal.
I mean, this is just the latest example. The entire party, the party keeps saying they aren't, this is a separate candidate, that this is just a socialist candidate, but they all share this view. We've seen the moderates say the same thing. ICE is kidnapping when they have a federal warrant. So anytime any American is arrested, when there's a warrant after them, those police officers are kidnapping them as well. I mean, this is just nonsense, and many of the Democrats back this type of rhetoric, and that's why, Ainsley, the assaults against ICE officers are up 800%.
Yeah, and I guarantee most of those are in these blue states.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.